Good afternoon, guys. We've got a special video today because I've recently got my hands on a photo book. It's a tennis photo book. It's called Visions of Tennis, and it's got some photos in here from photographers from all the way through from the 30s and 40s right through to the late 90s. I think it's a great book, and it's really just helped me reassess and appreciate where sports photography, and particularly tennis photography, has come from. And some of the important aspects that we need to appreciate when we're out there shooting. So what I thought I'd do, I'd like to share this with you. I'd like to share some of the photographs that are inside it and just some of my thoughts about these photographs. So what we're going to do, have a quick look and flick through these. I've saved some pages. We're going to have a look at some of these photographs right now. So first photograph here. So the French Open. This is 1994. This is a guy called Michael Chang. This was shot by Clive Brunskill, and I think this is one of those photos that today, with a lot of the YouTube videos that you see around talking about filling the frame, making your subject fill the frame and getting in nice and tight. This is one of the photos that you would see nowadays that would be cropped right off up here. Just to try and isolate and single out your subject, but as a whole, that photograph works really, really well. The shadow on the baseline, the shadow on the floor, on the clay court, really accentuates the height that this guy's getting. Michael Chang was a very, very athletic guy. He's already hit the ball, so the ball's not even in the photograph. The ball is well on its way over the other side of the net by now. But actually capturing the moment there, is fantastic. Nice freezing of the moment. Again, this one would have been shot on film. This was 1994, way before digital photography. And then if we scan forward now onto the next photograph, which is this one here. This was definitely before digital photography. And look at the grain on that. It's a great photograph though. This was 1969, so this was possibly shot with one of the new, back then, SLRs from Nikon and Canon. 1969 was when Nikon bought the Nicomat F, and I forget what the Canon one was. So this was probably shot on, possibly shot on one of those cameras, and just makes you appreciate that it's all about capturing the moment and not about the noise or sharpness of the image, because that image is full of grain. It is in focus. It's focused in on the guys, but it's full of grain there. It's a great capture though. Great fun capture. And if we just scan forwards as well onto this next image here, we've got Fred Perry. This was again shot 1934. This one, so this was definitely on film. And if you're shooting film in 1934, are you going to have ISO 100 film? I think they probably would have killed for ISO 100 film. So this might have even been shot at ISO 200, ISO 400 film. And as such, you can see that the shutter speed can't quite get the highest shutter speed that we can today. The 1250th per second is probably out of reach. And therefore you've got some blur in the racket, blur in the ball, blur in the feet round here. But as a photograph, that is fantastic. That's really inspiring photograph. There's not as much grain on it as the last one, so really sweet. And if we scan on, it's one of those photographs that just makes you think, if you need to turn your ISO up to get the shutter speed, turn your ISO up, because you don't want to miss the shot. You don't want to miss a shot like that. That is fantastic. So next page, let's scan all the way across, and these are again some of the examples of not cropping in too tight when you're on a tennis court. If you're on a tennis court, you want to know that you're on a tennis court. You want to know that you're photographing tennis. This was shot on the service line. You can see the baseline in the background. This is understanding the angles that come into play in tennis. So if you're shooting up nice and high, then you don't have any distractions of the crowd. This is shot late in the day as well, so probably near golden hour. You've got the length of the shadow across the court. Beautiful image. And very, very similar to the next one as well. If we scan across to the next image, this is exactly the same idea. No distractions at all on this photograph other than your subject. So this was shot at the French Open again. This isn't Michael Chang, the same guy with the backhand smash that you saw the first photograph. This is 1994, so the same year as well. And it's just showing. I just wanted to show this photograph because the ball's not in it, and I mean, even when I came out and started photographing tennis, I was very, very keen to get the ball on the racket. I thought the ball on the racket was the important shot, and there's actually such a wide variety of flow and movement in tennis that capturing the peak of action might actually be later on in the shot. They've got such great balance and such great poise and flow in their tennis shots that capturing it there, right at the end of the follow through, eyes completely focused on where the ball's gone. That is a great photograph. So don't forget, if you're doing sports photography, that it might not necessarily need to have the ball in the frame for it to be a great shot. So next page. And this is where we're going to start talking about the emotions that you start capturing in tennis and in sport in general. This is where I'm a big believer of capturing the emotion and capturing what's going on in their facial expressions. If you've got John McEnroe here throwing the ball up, looking into the sun, concentration, and then on the opposite side you've got Andre Agassi, 1991 at Wimbledon, and he's looking so nervous. He might have been serving on a big point, might have been break point, might have been match point, but the emotion that he's portraying in that facial expression is absolutely priceless and not to be missed. Again, that's going to come down into placement. If you're serving, if you're photographing someone who's serving, you want to be able to capture that facial expression because you're going to get a lot of facial expressions and a lot of emotions when that player's serving, because that is the big point or the big shot in the game. They're in complete control, and there's a lot of pressure on that serve, and how they deal with it and how they portray that in their face is always going to make for a great photograph. And next page, this is something that I think is, and there's another one later on as well, this is something I think is overlooked a lot in sports photography, actually turning around and getting something that's not happening on the court. These are 4 photographs, and if you separate them out and just show one, you don't really see any context, and it doesn't really make a great photograph. But if you put them in a group of 4, or say 6, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Well, I'm about to sneeze, I'm not sure. Yeah, about to sneeze. Anyway, if you put them as a set of 6 or a set of 4, they then make a nice set, and you get a real sense of what is happening and a sense of solidity within those photographs. And then if we go on, there's another one later on. Where are we? There's one later on of some serving. So it's a set of serving shots. I can't find it at the moment. But the same idea. Obviously, a tennis player's serve is 99% identical to each of them. They've all got their funny little quirks, but the actual shape is going to be very, very similar. So if they're going to be doing that, I can't find it in a second. If they're going to be doing that, then you can make a great photo set of all the different players serving and looking exactly the same and capturing the same pose. And you've got some great rhythm and some repeating patterns that will make a nice little photo set within those. So if we go across to the next one, this is again something that isn't taken enough of. The actual game itself, and you've got all the spectators as well looking around. Wide angle lens, fisheye lens shot. You've got the entire stadium in there. You've probably got 10,000 people watching. 2 guys slugging it out on the bottom, and then you've got the sky as well, showing that it is probably something around 10 o'clock at night. So they might have been slugging it out for 3-4 hours already. Lovely, lovely photograph, and do not forget to take these kind of photographs. Turn around, get the crowd. Don't just focus in on the players, but that itself, quality capture, liking it. Here's the serving one. So the serving one here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Repeating patterns across the servers, and then you can have another 3 down there. all shot from the same angle, all shot from the same place. Brilliant. Think about things like that. Think about things that you can make repeated, things that happen a lot in the sport, things that happen a lot in tennis. So picking the ball up, catching the ball, bouncing the ball. You can have repeated photos of that. And then here we've got the emotion again. This is just as he's won the point, just as he's won his match. Fantastic photograph. But this is where understanding the actual game itself is going to help you. If you realise that this guy is going to be serving for the match, you want to place yourself in the best possible position, the best possible angle, with the best possible lens, and set the shutter speed. Obviously, he's not going to have as much movement as he's going to have when he's playing a shot, so you could probably drop the shutter speed down a little bit to help you drop the ISO if you need to. But things like that only happen once in the match, so make sure you're in the best possible position with the best possible angle to capture things like that. Next page, or the next photograph, next example. You can just find it. Here we go. And these are this is actually a photo that I'm really aspiring to. The photo here that was shot directly above the baseline, where the players serve. This is a centre tee here, and something like this is going to take a lot of trust and a lot of setup. With the photograph, the camera will have to be set up directly above the player. It might even be a shot from one of the cameras that spiders across the court to video. But I'd love to be able to take a photograph. I'd love to be in a situation and in a position to be able to say, I want to take this photograph for you, and I need my camera set up over there. I think that would be fantastic to be able to do something like that. So that's the kind of photograph that I'm going to aspire to in the future. It also makes for a serving shot because they're looking straight up at the camera. And yeah, so that's where I'd like to be in 10 years' time. Thank you very much. And one of the last photographs. This is one of the photographs. This is something else that you can really single out, really zoom in on. And this photo here of the feet, I think that would make it for a great photo set again. All the different players have all got the similar kind of dynamic pose when they're serving. They've all got that strength and dynamism that they're using to push their weight into the serve. So they're all going to be off the ground. And then you've got just little looks of the players as they're playing, as they're sat down having a drink, a change of ends. Not to be missed again, there's a lot of emotion in looks like this. Just go on to the last photograph. This is the photograph we're going to finish on. Don't miss those kind of shots. Get in position. It only happens, it's only likely to happen at the maximum 4 times in a match, where you get that kind of a fist pump. And that kind of emotion and that kind of hysteria from the player, especially in the pro level. To be a very good tennis player at a pro level, you've got to be able to keep your emotions very constant. So you don't want big ups and downs. So showing emotion like that is only going to happen very few times in a match. And it's something that you definitely want to capture. Obviously, the obvious one and the simple one is winning the match. But you've got to understand that in big points, at the end of the set, or maybe saving the 3rd break point, they're going to have some kind of emotional outcome. And just be in position and be ready to capture that kind of photograph. And yeah, brilliant book, fabulous book. Just flicking through it when I got it, as soon as I got it, I knew I wanted to share it with you because it's really helped me appreciate where things have come from. And just to capture that image, put your camera in the best possible settings for you to capture that image. Don't miss it. Don't miss that shot because you won't be happy if you do. Okay? So thank you very much, guys. Please subscribe to this channel if you like what you see. Check out my website, which is www.frosin.co.uk. And I shall see you anon. Take care. I'll see you soon.